You're listening to the Dad Whisperer podcast with Dr. Michelle Watson Canfield, the place where you, as a dad, will gain more tools for your fathering toolbox, and where moms and daughters are also invited to listen into the conversation. Now, here is your host, Dr. Michelle Watson Canfield.
Hello and welcome back to the Dad Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Watson Canfield. And Dad, if you're ready to add more tools to your fathering toolbox, then you've come to the right place. Well, you know the grid I use every week, which is simply on your mark, get set, go. So Dad, picture yourself standing there with other dads, getting ready to run your fathering race this week. I'm on the sidelines as your coach cheering you on and saying, on your mark, get set, go. On your mark is the topic or the theme. Get set. We're going to fill that in with stories and stats, and go is always your practical action step so that you can put your love for your daughters and even your sons into action this week. Well, today I have a guest coach joining me here at the National Religious Broadcasters Conference, so you might hear a bunch of noise behind us. And my guest coach is named Gaylyn Williams. She's the CEO of an organization called Relationship Resources, as well as an award-winning internationally recognized author of 41 books. Are you kidding me? And she's also a dynamic motivational speaker. She's passionate about empowering people to transform their relationships with God and others through powerful books and trainings. Among her myriads of books, Gaylyn and her dad, Ken, have co-written a book together, obviously that's what co-written means, with a title that you are going to love. Listen to this. All Stressed Up and Everywhere to Go. Here's the subtitle. De-stressing your life and recovering your sanity. Okay, do I hear an amen? Of course I do. And just so you know, Gaylyn is a woman who walks her talk. She's learned how to deal with stress by going through a lot of it, which includes abandonment as a child, the deaths of her 6-month-old son and her fiance, 16 years as a single mom, raising 2 rambunctious sons, overcoming cancer, and betrayals by a close friend. I'm so honored that she's here today. Thank you, Gaylyn, for making time out of your busy schedule to join me. Welcome, Gaylyn Williams.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so thankful that we could talk about stress. Come on. Come on. We know we got to go there, don't we?
Yes.
Well, on your mark, I just had to go with your book title. I couldn't make it any better. All Stressed Up and Everywhere to Go. That's on your mark today. Well, get set. If you didn't pick it up already, men, today we are talking about stress. This is a concept that we all know, we all live, but maybe aren't hearing enough either about it or what to do about it, to move through it with more proactive strategies. So we're going to go there today, aren't we?
Yes.
We are. Okay. Well, to set the foundation for our conversation, I want to read y'all what Gaylyn wrote me in an introductory email just so you can hear her heart. Here's what she wrote me. I love all your programs about empowering dads in their relationships with their daughters. For men to successfully lead their families, they need resources on how to effectively manage their stress. To which I say yes, and I agree, and amen. That they then can use themselves and train their daughters. You said many years ago, my dad taught me some powerful, easy to apply strategies to manage stress that I believe will help your audience. You said the two of you wrote a book sharing the principles as well as training a network of people worldwide in the powerful skills of reducing and navigating stress. And you said, so I would love an opportunity to share with your audience. So can you all understand now why I have invited her here? Because these clearly are truths and messages that dads need to hear. So with that said, are you ready to start the track? We're going to go around the track with dads. We're propping you up, dads. We're cheering you on. And when I say propping you up, what I mean by that is we're running alongside you. You're not on your own. We are right here. We are your jogging partners. Let's call it that. So Gaylyn, like I said, I love the title of your book. Tell me how that title came to be and what motivates you to teach people about stress.
Well, the title came about just sitting down with my best friend who's also a writer and just exploring options. What can we call this and find something creative? Because stress is stressful.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it's nice to have something to get people to laugh. Now, where this book came from was my dad and I had trained a network of people worldwide. Well over 50,000 people have been through workshops using these skills. And so I know that they work. Besides, I use them myself. Mm-hmm. So when I start getting stressed myself, I will go back to the skills and work myself through them. So they are something that people can learn and continue to apply. It's not like a one-time fix because stress happens. It's just
every day.
It's just regular. Yes, but there's so much that it helps for people to understand what stress is and how stress affects them. And because you can't really fully deal with stress unless you really understand those things.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you said you wrote this book with your dad.
Yes.
What was that like? And what's your relationship with your dad like now? What was it like growing up?
Well, I don't think I have much of a relationship with him now because he's in heaven.
Okay.
But yes, he was like one of my best friends, and he and my mom actually sent me to boarding school from the time I was 6 to the time I was 13.
Okay.
So I didn't have a whole lot of relationship with him then, other than on vacations. And he and I just always connected. We always just had this deep connection where we would spend time together. And then even throughout the years, we usually lived in different cities, different states or different countries.
Wow.
But when we were together, we always made the time for just one-on-one time with each other. And
Which means your dad was making time for one-on-one time with you.
Yes.
That starts top down, doesn't it?
absolutely.
And you said yes.
Yes, I did, because it was important to me to spend that time with him. And I miss him. You know, he's been gone since 2013, but I still miss him. I miss those times of just talking and being able to share deeply our lives, and as well as talking about books. So I'm not even sure how many books we've written together.
And how cool that you have those books now as kind of a living legacy of his voice, right? And his connection with you to write them. Well, the concept stressed up is one I've never heard, which I imagine most people probably tell you. So where did you come up with the term all stressed up, and what does it mean? Instead of stressed out, you say stressed up.
Well, it just kind of fit with that, because there's this saying, all stressed up and nowhere to go, or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's like, when you're stressed out, stressed up, whichever it is, you have so many things going on. So it's like there's everywhere to go, and there's and I know dads have so many different things pulling on them. They have everywhere, between work and their spouse and their children, and
trying to maintain their health or
and
friends
whatever else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too much. So that everywhere to go is kind of a way of saying, I know it's too much.
Yes.
And we all feel that. But I love that you're even saying to dads, I feel you. Yes. I see you. I know it's too much. Well, like I said earlier, we all have stress. Let's call you a stress expert. So, Gaylyn, can you explain more about how stress does impact our lives and our health? Even prevalence in America. Anything you want to just kind of set the foundation here for understanding stress?
Stress can affect every area of our lives. There's been studies that have showed that most diseases stem from stress. Now, there can be other causes, but it's important for us to recognize and figure out, okay, so what symptoms do I have when I'm stressed? First, we need to figure out what is stressing me. But then when I am stressed, when you're stressed, what symptoms do you have? Because those symptoms can either be friends or they can be enemies. So they're friends if you listen to them and go, oh, wait a minute, I'm experiencing whatever it is. I mean, what I used to have is chest pains. And so now when I first started having that, I went to a cardiologist because it's like, you do want to kind of get those things. But I went in saying it's probably just stress. I had so much going on at the time. But now if I start to feel those chest pains, then I'm going, okay, I need to do something. My stress is getting too much. So that's just one example.
And you know what I would say? This is something I tell my clients. Your body is talking in the only language it has. So you're saying that's letting your stress in a way be your friend, which I've never thought of it that way. I think most of us would think of that as an enemy. But you're saying let that be a guide, kind of a warning light, slow down, take a break, take a breath, take a Sabbath or something, right?
Yes. Now it becomes an enemy if you ignore it.
Right.
Because then it only gets worse. And then that's when we take it out on other people, our stress.
Yeah, good point. And we all know that when we're stressed, cortisol is pumping through our bodies. And so the negative impact on our health due to those excessive, surges of cortisol can only have negative impacts, right?
Yes.
On our coping, on our sleeping, on our eating habits, on our choices, not only of responses, but I think sometimes what we may do to kind of numb or take the edge off.
Yes, that is true.
And that's where it gets into the danger zone. Okay, so you mentioned you've worked with over 50,000 people. You've taught them these skills, and we're going to get to that in this conversation. In over 80 countries, that's just phenomenal.
Oh, it's probably way more than that because
Really?
I've trained a network and they've kind of just gone out and so I have
You
actually
can't even count it anymore.
We stopped counting about 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness!
At 80 countries.
Okay, good. That we could probably say 100. So you clearly have interacted with men, with women, with different ethnicities and cultures, and seen the impact of stress right across the board. So with my focus being more on fathers of daughters, I'm wondering if you could share anything about how you believe a dad's stress impacts his daughter.
Well, it depends on what they're doing with the stress. Because if they're dealing with the stress in good ways, in healthy ways, then it shouldn't impact the daughter unless, other than maybe talking through, saying, Daddy's stressed right now. But this
it's
is
not
what
about you. It's not your fault. It's me, my stress.
But if we don't, if dads or anyone really, don't deal with it, then it can just get splashed and all over everybody and can really impact daughters and sons, their self-worth. It can impact so much of their lives.
So what if a dad says, I was an athlete growing up and I learned about positive stress, or maybe someone does some public speaking and says, I've heard that that's good to get an adrenaline rush, kind of a pump of energy, get endorphins firing. Is that true? Would you say that there is such a thing as positive stress?
Absolutely. And I wish if this was a video, I could show you a graph. But we all need a certain amount of stress in order to be the most successful, in order to perform. And so we each need to figure out where is that level for us, because it's different for everyone. And so people are on a curve, and we want to be like in the middle of that curve. There's leeway in there, but that's where we're the most effective in our lives. So yes, stress is good. I would not have gotten out of bed this morning if I didn't have some stress to get here to talk to you.
A time, an agenda, a focus.
Yes. And we wouldn't even have a reason to breathe if there wasn't stress.
So it's almost like you're talking about it as a motivator, which
it can be.
Really does make it less negative.
Yeah, no, stress is not bad in itself. It's when we get overstressed, and because we're not dealing with it correctly, that's when it affects ourselves, our own lives, but it affects those around us.
You know, in your title, the Everywhere to Go, I love how you explain that, Gaylyn, because what just came to me when you said about affecting everybody, kind of sprays everywhere, is for me, when I get overstressed, I get frenetic. I literally find myself going into the room going, what was I going to get again? And I can't remember. And then I feel scattered. I feel kind of disjointed. I can't move from A to B to C to D to get something done.
Yes.
Because I've maxed out my capacity for holding that stress. What would you say to someone like me or a dad listening when you hit the overstressed point? What's a good way to bring yourself back into what you said, kind of that median?
Well, you need to figure out what is stressing you. You need to figure out and understand, first of all, what stress really is, because a lot of times we think of stress and we equate stress with a stress situation. But stress is so much more than that, and it's an accumulation. It can be just an accumulation of lots of different things, not just one big thing. But also it's what we bring into the situation that affects our stress. So like our expectations or our fears, anxieties, unforgiveness, all of that, when we bring that into a new situation, it determines how much we're going to feel stressed in a given situation. And that affects our perspective. So like my dad had this story of, a true story of, he met with two different couples overseas, and they both came in for counseling, and one right after the other. They both lived on the same street, worked for the same organization, ate the same food, ministered to the same people. The first one came in and said, "We're leaving this country. We can't stand it. It's horrible. The food's terrible. The work's terrible. Everything's terrible." And the next one came in and said, "Oh, we're so sad. We have to leave this amazing place and this amazing work because her mom is sick." And same situation.
Same country, same people, same food.
Everything was basically the same. It's their perspective that was impacted because they hadn't dealt with stuff from the past and dealt with their own emotions and expectations.
So like when you gave the example of coming here today, yes, you have deadlines, you have places you need to be, you've got a time limit, you got to prepare your mind, your soul, your spirit. But I think what you're saying is when you carry something in, let's say, like you said, unforgiveness or some unfinished business from yesterday that carries with you.
Or 25 years ago.
Or 25 years ago. Yeah, well said. It's more than just what's going on in the moment, which is often why I'll teach my clients this phrase that I made up, which is where I say, the thing you think is the thing isn't the thing. It's maybe more accurate to say isn't the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I think especially for dads of daughters, if you can begin to remember that often when she shows up in a stress response, and if you counter that with a stress response, like put her down or try to make light of it, or you think those aren't real problems, that's your high school friends or your third grade friends. I have real problems at work. And you belittle her, even in the way that you respond, or you get short with her. Remember that in that moment, what she's bringing, the thing you think is the thing isn't the thing, it's probably some other stuff that she's carried into that moment. And so if you slow down and ask her questions and hear more of the backstory to the story, it goes a long way. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Gaylyn's going to be giving you really practical ways to work through stress and to move it out of your body and your brain, and you're going to love it. We'll be right back.
Are you a dad who has ever desired a deeper connection with your daughter, but haven't known how to go about it? Let's Talk, Conversation Starters for Dads and Daughters is the very resource you need. Dr. Michelle wrote it with you dads in mind. This book will support you with scripted questions, equip you to decode your daughter, and inspire you with stories of other dads and daughters. Don't wait any longer to be the hero you want to be and that your daughter needs you to be. So, to let the talking begin, head on over to drmichellewatson.com/books and order your copy today. This book will become a favorite in your fathering toolbox and will give you the answers you've been looking for. That's drmichellewatson.com/books. Now, back to the Dad Whisperer podcast.
Welcome back. I'm here today with my new friend, Gaylyn Williams. Today on Your Mark, we've titled this All Stressed Up and Everywhere to Go, which is the title of her book that she wrote with her dad, Ken. Subtitle, Solutions to De-Stressing Your Life and Recovering Your Sanity, which is a really great way to say it. We do feel a bit insane sometimes when we're frenetic, frazzled, frizzled, whatever you want to call it, right? At the seams. So now let's make this practical. I know that you love in your workshops giving people practical ways to work through stress. How about you take us there now?
Where do I even start? There's specific steps that I take people through, whether it's in a workshop or in the book. And it's important to go through all the steps, because otherwise you don't have a whole picture and you can't fully work through them. I mean, the last step, which is something that you can do today, but and I'll share that with you. But if you really want to deal with your stress, I encourage you to work through all the steps. There's 6 steps.
And they need to go in order? Or does it matter?
It's best to go in order.
Okay, best to go in order.
The problem is that most Christians just jump straight to the last one and ignore the others. But to fully deal with all your stress, you need to deal with all of them. And so the last one is putting our eyes on Jesus, focusing on God rather than the problem. And I love that verse in Hebrews 12:2 says, fixing your eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before us endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Well, that Greek word, it's one word for fixing our eyes. It has a dual meaning, and it means to look away from and look toward. And if you think about it, you can't focus on both, on our problems and on the Lord. You just can't look at both of them at the same time.
So how do you do that? I know it sounds good in theory. Fix your eyes. Don't look at the stress. Look to Jesus. Practically, what does that look like? Either for you, or what do you teach people?
Well, it can be different for each person. Can I just give you a quick example from me? When I had a son, my middle son, he was very sick for 3 months, and then we met with the doctor. And so my first 3 months, I was just so stressed out and stressed up. And just because I was focused on the problem, and I had a very real problem. My son was very sick. He was in and out of the hospital, mostly in the hospital. And then the doctor met with us at when he was about 3 months, and gave him a 6 to 12 months to live. So basically, she gave us his death sentence. Now, we were standing praying for him, and had thousands of people around the world praying for him. But it was the most amazing thing. At the exact moment she told us that, God just flooded me with this amazing joy. And I realized I'd been trusting the doctors, and they couldn't do anything. He'd seen 25 pediatric specialists and had all these surgeries. They couldn't do anything, so my only hope was in God. So for me, I chose to start really focusing on God. And one of the things that I would do is sing that little song, turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. And I would sing that sometimes 30 or 40 times.
I've done that too at times when I'm stressed.
Till I could change my focus.
I love that.
Onto him. And it was amazing how he would bring that joy.
And for dads with your daughters, when they're stressed and then you're stressed because they're stressed, or vice versa, I think that is a really practical action step, Gaylyn, is if you're not a singer, pull something up on your phone and play it for her.
Your daughters
doesn't
don't
even matter
care
how you sing it. Exactly.
Your daughters don't care
They don't
how
care.
you sing. You sing fine for them.
Okay, so that's...
unless they're teenagers.
Exactly. So you said there's 6 steps. What are the first ones leading up to the fixing your eyes on Jesus? Because you said sometimes Christians will just skip them all and go to that one. What sets the foundation for getting there?
Well, first of all, it's understanding what stress is and what it isn't that I shared earlier. But then it's writing down everything that is stressing you right now or has been in the last 6 months, including all the internal stress, things like your expectations and your fears and anxieties and worries and unforgiveness. So writing it all down. And it's amazing when I go through that process, even now, you'd think I'd learn better. And I am better at it, but still, how many of my stresses are things that are internal? They're things that have to do with worries or expectations, not necessarily the situations.
Right. Oh, that's so good. And it also gets it out. So instead of what I call being like on the hamster wheel inside going around and around, you get it out. So write it down. What comes next then?
Well, and sometimes when you do that, you go, man, I feel much worse. It doesn't cause the problem. It just gets it to the surface where you can deal with it. So first of all, doing that and then figuring out how does it affect you? So overall, I was talking about the curve earlier. So overall, how is it affecting you? Are you getting close to burnout? Because the thing with when you have too much stress is that when you start to go down that curve, then you go into burnout. And if you stay in that place of burnout, there's a chance you might never get back, never recover from it.
And why is that?
Is it like it fries the circuits? Something to do with and I don't really quite understand
the science of it.
I'm sure there's science behind it, but I don't know what that is.
Again, I think that term burnout, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I think there's probably someone we all know that maybe hit a midlife crisis and made decisions, but I think there were things leading up to them burning out or you kind of hitting the breaking point. And so, maybe you say there's that point of no return, but at the same time, I think that's why this is a preemptive kind of conversation to say, if you notice that you're beginning to entertain thoughts of, I'm going to leave it all and go over here, those are some indicators that you're reaching max capacity and you'd be wise to reach out to someone, a counselor, a pastor, a friend, to open up, that you're beginning to entertain thoughts to just run away from it all, leave it all behind. Would that be some indicators you would say that you're reaching max capacity burnout?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of different things that could be burnout. And,
like what?
Well, it all depends. I mean, the ultimate would be death. I mean, there's been people who've died from stress. That when I went to my cardiologist, she said, stress can actually kill you.
Yeah, it's affected my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not made to run at that capacity.
Or my dad knew someone who was a missionary who was brought back to the United States in a straitjacket.
Okay. Yeah, kind of something flipped and there was kind of a...
Yeah, but if we keep up on it and we understand how it's affecting us, and then we can do something about it, so that we don't get to that spot, so we don't get there.
Write it out, acknowledge it, Get it out, understand stress, anything else.
And recognize how it's affecting us. And then it's not till after that we can start to do something about it. So then
what would you encourage dads to do about it? I love action steps, and so do dads.
You look at that list of what you have.
Okay.
And you figure out, first of all, what is something that you can quickly do something about. And those internal things like the fears and anxieties, and those you can do something about, or anger. Those are where we can start. Now, if you have too many activities that you're doing, then is there something that you can get rid of that is not a sin to get rid of?
And
so
it's
like
not maybe necessary.
getting rid of your child is
probably not going to happen.
Probably not. Even if your daughter is the one that is stressing you, you can't get rid of her.
But
you can get rid of if you're leading too many meetings, if you're leading too many Bible studies or whatever, you can get. You don't necessarily have to do everything.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I'm very driven. It's very hard for me to say no and let go, but I've gotten better at it the older I've gotten. And so I think we're speaking here into your lives as dads, even women listening, is listen to the warning signs your body's giving you when you can tell you're beginning to entertain thoughts that aren't really in line with your character. Those are some indicators the stress has been there too long, and you'd be wise to listen to it. Well, before we wrap up, I know that you talk about having a free gift for our listeners, 52 free stress management tips. Explain what that is and tell everyone where to find that.
Yes, you can go to relationshipresources.org, and partway down the page, there's a link to go there to get those. And I will send you, and I won't spam you.
Okay.
But once a week, you will get a short little tip, something that practical that you can do today to lower your stress. But they're very short, because when we're stressed, we don't really want.
That's a good point.
We don't want a long thing to do.
Yeah, I love that. Can you give one or two of the tips on there? I know you've given some other ideas here. Do any of them come to mind that you're like, this is one I love and I use in my daily life?
Okay, one of them is to figure out what it is that helps you de-stress and then apply it. So
like a resource that you use.
Yeah, so like I have some friends, when they're stressed, what helps them de-stress is going shopping. For me, shopping stresses me. So that's not something I'm going to do. I like going out in nature. I like going for a walk or a hike or just being with a friend. So it's
you're saying make a list of all those things. So when you're stressed, you don't have to think about it. It's already there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, I end every show with a go step, and I know you've given lots of them here today, Gaylyn. But if you right now, after all you've shared, were to offer dads one practical action step today to lower their stress, what would you say to that dad?
If I can only give you one, it would be focusing on the Lord and just getting your eyes off of whatever the stressors are. Although, can I add in a second little one? You got to figure out what is stressing you.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
So you know what to take to the Lord.
Yes.
I love that. So it's kind of a two-parter.
And it's not something that we can do one time. It's over and over. It's every single day spending that time with the Lord and focusing on Him.
I love that, because the peace that passes your understanding will guard your heart, your mind.
Yes.
In Christ Jesus. So your body will feel the impact. Your brain will. Cortisol levels come down. I love that. Last question. I know you mentioned this earlier, but where can people find you, and where can they get this 52 stress-free tips?
It's relationshipresources.org.
Love it. Gaylyn, thank you so much for joining me today, talking about how to de-stress our lives. Well, On Your Mark today has been all stressed up and everywhere to go. Gaylyn Williams has been my guest. So this wraps up another week's program. It's been great to be here with you all. I'm Dr. Michelle Watson-Canfield, the Dad Whisperer, signing off and encouraging you to make today a day where you intentionally and consistently invest in pursuing your daughter's hearts. Go Dads!
Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Dad Whisperer podcast with Dr. Michelle Watson-Canfield. If you're looking for more resources to support the father-daughter relationship, or if you want to connect personally with Dr. Michelle, you can find all the information you need at drmichellewatson.com. That's drmichellewatson.com. And remember, you can listen to the Dad Whisperer podcast anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. And while you're there, we'd love for you to subscribe and leave us a review. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again on the next edition of the Dad Whisperer podcast with Dr. Michelle Watson-Canfield.